welcome to another episode of Reverse Ambition, a podcast about those who chase their dreams and their passions. I have a very special guest, a fellow Brooklynite. She's a celebrity. She's a celebrity makeup artist. Her clients are Ava DuVernay, Diddy's son Quincy, June Ambrose, Yvonne Orji. That's how you pronounce her name? Yvonne Orji?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
From Insecure, Little Rel, Candy Burris, Angela Bassett, Terry Crews, Lisa Price, Justine Skye, and a whole lot of other people that she does their makeup. Please welcome Camara, Aunique. What up, girl?
Hey, Cal. Thank you for having me.
Girl, thank you. I know we've been homies for years.
Yeah.
And I feel really, blessed and privileged that I'm talking to you right now you're about to share your journey with me, the good, the bad, and the ups and downs. So I really appreciate you for taking time out to get on this podcast with me, girl.
I appreciate you even asking me to be a part of it. It's a big thing. It's a big deal.
Hell yeah, man. I'm trying. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up, girl. Anyway, I usually ask my guests, start off questions like, take me through your journey in terms of where you're from, where you grew up, where you went to school, and what you majored in school. And, we could go from there in terms of how you get to where you are now. Sounds good?
Yeah, sure.
All right, girl.
Sure. So go ahead. Okay, cool. So I'm from Brooklyn, New York originally.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, originally born and raised in Brooklyn in Flatbush. My family is from Trinidad. And I went to school. You mean college?
Yeah, I mean.
I went to New York City College of Technology. So I stayed here in New York. I kind of wish I went away for college. Sometimes I'll be thinking about it like, damn, I wish I went to HB, how y'all call it?
HBCU. I mean, listen.
No, I wish I went to one because I'm like, I wish I knew about that when I was growing up.
Right.
But I didn't. So I stayed here in New York for school, and I went to school for dental lab technology so I could make you a mean denture.
Wow. So that's what you did in college? Dental lab technology?
Yeah.
So when you graduated, is that what you did?
No, I actually got bored and did not complete it. I was like, this is boring. I'm not going to actually want to do this. This is not going to make me enough money. So I'm not going to complete school. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go work in retail.
Oh, so you dropped out of college?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
After how long?
Probably like about after 2 years. I was in, about 2 years.
So how was your work experience in retail?
Retail was fun. It was humbling. It was my way of growing. It was teaching me how to connect with people and how to sell. It also taught me that it also pushed me into makeup.
Okay, that's how you got up in the makeup?
I honestly didn't even know. I remember I was working for Macy's in Herald Square, and I was working at the Beautiful Planet location, where they sold all organic. So this is years ago when organic and eating clean and clean products were coming out, and green products were finally coming out for everyone. And so I was there selling, but then I was right in between the two MAC locations at Herald Square. So I would see girls from MAC walking past me every single minute to get product from one location to help a client and bring them to another location. Like I was watching them walk past me and I was so inspired by them. And I was like, damn, I want to be a MAC girl. Like I really want to be a MAC girl. I want to learn from these girls. And so with Beautiful Planet, we had makeup there. So I would practice, the makeup that we had on clients. And I remember doing one client and she cried and she was like, you made me feel so pretty by just putting this shadow on my eyes. And I was like, wow, this is something. Yeah. And I was like, this is something. And I was like, okay. let me figure out a way. And I used to ask the young ladies at MAC if they could teach me how to do makeup. And at that time, they weren't the nicest people. And so they would like they would show me like a little thing here and there, but then it would be like, girl, get away from me.
Wow.
Like, yeah, they would treat me so bad.
But you keep nagging them or something? You keep like nagging them?
Not nagging, but just asking to learn. And I think because everybody felt like, why is this girl asking to learn? Like, if you don't know how to do makeup, then you don't know how to do it. It was one of those types of things. And so I met a guy, moved to North Carolina for 3 months, left Macy's, moved to North Carolina.
To be with this guy?
To be with this guy, and literally started working at Belk's out there. And that's when Estee Lauder hired me. Okay. And so Estee Lauder hired me, and I was like, oh, I'm really getting into skincare and makeup now. Like, this is it. This is like my niche. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like a tug of, you need to learn how to do this. Okay. And so it didn't work out with the guy. So I was like, freak, I got to get back home. Because North Carolina was not it. It was just not it. So December, I told the Belks, the Estee Lauder out there, I was like, listen, I need to get back home. And they're like, well, there's a position open on Fifth Avenue at the Lord & Taylor's location. You could be a freelancer, and we have a position for you, because the amount of money I brought in sales at the North Carolina location was the same amount of money someone will bring within 3 months. I brought like 6 months worth of money within 3 months. So they were like, we need to keep you. We have a position for you in Lord & Taylor's. So once you get home, we'll make sure you're good. So I packed my stuff. I shipped everything back to my grandmother's house. I moved back into my grandmother's house, and I went to Lord & Taylor's, and I was a freelancer for Estee Lauder at Lord & Taylor's. And I would travel doing makeup and skincare, like helping them sell and just holding down the beauty experts that were working at the location. So you basically was like doing sales, not really makeup, or Yeah, because it wasn't really about makeup with Lauder. It's more about just sales. But they have makeup there, so it's really like learning about how to apply and just working with a different kind of crowd. Like, so I learned how to work with white women. I learned how to work with Asian women. I learned how to work with, because Estee Lauder's brand is, at that time, it was not as diverse. So it was like better for me to learn how to work with all women of color, basically. It was more diverse, So I was able to work with a wide range of women rather than just a small range of women. Right. And so I started freelancing, and I was doing so well as a freelancer that they offered me a full-time position at the Lord & Taylor's on Fifth Avenue. And I took it, and I started my career. They were like, you need to bring in $250,000 in sales and build a tight clientele. And I was like, well, I don't even know how to do that. But okay, I'm going to make it happen. And within that year, I made $350,000 in sales. How did you make it happen? I went out there and I got it. Like, I pulled clients in. I had the president and CEO of Prospect Park as a client, and Miss Emily Lloyd. I don't know, she's no longer there anymore. But how did you meet her? She was walking through Lord & Taylor's, and I just stopped her, and we had a conversation, and she liked me. Wow. And every month she purchased maybe about $5,000 worth of product from me. Wow. So it was just building clients, building a relationship with clients, letting them know that I appreciate them. So basically, Estee Lauder was teaching me what I needed to learn as with my career where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. And so after the year, I received an award from Lauder. We had dinner with the Lauders, because the whole team, as one, we made $2 million with the counter for the first time in history. Wow. That Lord & Taylor has been open. So they took us out to dinner. They celebrated us. We received awards. And then I was like, all right, it's time to move on. Oh. And so I was, yeah. Why? What gave you that itch? I was like, well, I was more like, it's time to move on, because I need to learn how to become a better makeup artist. I had a nudge I had a nudge in me that was like, you need to learn how to do this now. Okay. You know skincare now. You know how to sell, and you know skincare. So you need to leave these clients behind. Because
Wow.
none of these clients were leaving with me to go to like Mac or anything like that. Because these were not Mac women; they were Estee Lauder women.
Right, right.
So I had to take. I remember walking one February cold day to Mac on in Henry Bendel, and I went there and I told the manager there. I said, you should hire me, and he was like, why? And I told him the entire history of Mac and how I knew about it and how I'm I should be the go-to makeup artist for their clients, and I'll bring to the table as a teammate. And maybe about like 2 months later, they finally hired me.
Okay, so you just randomly walked up to this dude and said, "You need to."
I was like,
hire me.
I want to work here. This is the place for me to be. You guys need me on your team, and I want to be here. And then maybe a month later, I had a full interview with the manager of the store. And then after that, maybe a month after that, they fully hired me.
Right.
And once they fully hired me, I went from making like $80,000 a year to making only $20,000 a year.
Wow, because you're not doing sales anymore. You were just
there were sales there, yeah, but there was sales there, but I was also part-time. So I was making less money. So I wasn't making as much money as I was with Lauder. So I basically took a huge loss. Yeah. But it was also sacrifice.
Right. Did you see it? Do you see it as a sacrifice then?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I knew it was a sacrifice. And at that time, I just got my first apartment. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? It was a struggle, but I knew I had a plan. And the plan was to be to go to Fashion Week. The plan was to get all my certifications, make it to Fashion Week, and grow a new clientele and get out.
All right. Oh, get out of
there. So I wasn't, because the one thing I noticed about a lot of people that worked at Mac was that they always seemed to get comfortable. And so I said, I remember feeling like I cannot get comfortable here.
Did you have a timeline for your plan?
I had a timeline at that time. Yes, I had a timeline like this is it, and it's going to be like maybe 2.5 years. And I think I quit 2 years to the date that I got hired.
Oh, okay. So less than 2.5 years.
Yeah, kind of. I think it was like 2.5 or maybe 2. So that happened. I had, and from working at Mac, I closed down the Henry Bendel location, worked at Times Square for about a year, and then opened the Fifth Avenue location that's there now on like 5th and like 50 something, and 5th and 54th. And, built my clientele where I had Bad Boy as a client. I had Mickey Taylor walked in to Times Square and walked past everybody and said, you're going to do my makeup.
Why did she point you out?
I don't know. She literally, and she tells me this to this day. She was like, because I saw it in you. I knew that you were going to be somebody. I knew that you were going to be one of the go-to makeup artists, and I wanted you to touch my face. I didn't want anyone else but you to touch my face.
Wow.
And I remember that day like it was yesterday. And I was standing there, and I was like, you want me to do your face? And I'm like, you're Mickey Taylor.
Right. Right.
So from there, I grew so many, I met so many different people that wanted to help me and wanted to see me grow and basically pushed me. And I was like, I'm going to do photo shoots. I'm going to do as much things as possible. And then the career and the journey started. I mean, and there were a few road bumps in between. I survived domestic violence in between that and had to go back to work, literally the next day after experiencing it because I was working part-time. Yeah, and being pregnant at the same time and having to lie. Yeah, I was pregnant at the same time when I got into a fight with my ex, and then lying to to people around me and letting them think that I lost the child because I was so ashamed, and then I had an abortion. And it's to a point where I literally took that shame out. Like that shame has left me, and I'm literally like open about it. Like, yeah, I had a freaking abortion at 4 months pregnant, and I was not trying to have a baby for a crazy dude that tried to kill me. Yes, I was not going to do it, and so there was a few bumps in the road, but I kept going and I kept pursuing it. A few. There was a lot of bumps in the road.
How did you? You said you went to work the next day. Was there any visible marks on your face, or was
there were visible marks on my body? Yeah, but I covered up.
Mm-hmm.
I covered up my body. Not on my face.
Mm-hmm.
He did not really get my face. I did have probably it's been such a long time. I did have marks on my neck, but I covered it up with makeup and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still visibly pregnant.
Wow.
And during that time, I had to learn how to heal, all while being at retail and working on a retail floor where people that don't really give a fuck about what you're doing, they don't care about what you're going through,
go
what
to work
you're dealing
smiling, regardless of what happened.
And even the managers don't care about what you're dealing with because they didn't show me any compassion for what I went through.
How did you
do
it?
Compassion.
How did you?
I don't even. It's God. When I look back at it now, I didn't know God like that, like how I know Him to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no other reason why I did not I didn't commit suicide. There's no other reason why I didn't give up on life or give up on my dreams or give up on anything but God. It had to have been all God to be like, come on, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was lacking in money, He always provided.
I was wondering how the hell you paid your rent off $20,000 a year in New York.
Well, at that time I was paying $800 in rent. I was paying $600 or eight. I was living in on Nostrand and Kings Highway, so it wasn't prime yet. So I was paying nothing for rent, but that apartment was
far out there.
It was very far. It was beautiful. It had a really great view, but it was also infested with. It was just not it was not a healthy situation. I had to get up out of there, and so I got out of that apartment, moved to Bed-Stuy. I was rooming with this older woman, and it was not a healthy situation. 3 months in, God provided my first ever clean, beautiful apartment in Bed-Stuy.
What was wrong with the old lady?
She was. I don't want to talk about her. She was just a little,
crazy,
off.
Crazy. Okay.
A little off, yeah. But and I moved into my first apartment, and when I moved into my not my first apartment, into my second apartment, I moved into this apartment in Bed-Stuy, and that's where I stationed. And that apartment, I was paying $850 in rent, and I remember not having the money to put down for the rent, and I was God, I got 2 weeks to put down $2,700 and give this money, and literally that $2,700 popped out of nowhere.
Really? Out of nowhere? You did some extra hours or something?
I did some extra hours. I told clients that I had a rate going on. Hey, I need some, I need to get booked. Whatever jobs they had, I did it and saved my money. And then I was there for 5 years. And that was the birth of of me really going hard. And after leaving MAC, I decided to leave MAC after two and a half years and take up freelancing full time completely. And I was broke. It was not fun because at that time nobody really wanted to pay for makeup.
Right.
They barely wanted to pay me $150.
Right.
But I made it happen and I made it work. I was hustling every single day.
How did you make it? Give me an example of how you made it work. In terms of.
Well, that's when Instagram first came out too. So at that time I was pushing Instagram, pushing my, talking about my journey, talking about the things that I've experienced, posting, not even knowing about these types, about marketing myself, but literally just posting, keeping in touch with the clients that I built, letting them know that I'm available for work and reaching out to them and making sure I'm building relationships and letting them know that I want to work. And it was just always handed, okay, we got this coming up. Lock that in. And so I grew from there, and then
Instagram was the only platform you pretty much used to build your brand and engage your clients.
It was just Instagram, and also just basically becoming the Camara Aunique of like a beauty expert and mastermind. Before it was like, I was like, I have to basically be an expert at this, and I have to show and prove that I'm an expert at this. So anytime I was working Fashion Week, I was like, take a picture of me doing this so I could show, like, I work Fashion Week. Boom, this is what I do. And then I became that artist that a lot of people wanted to work with. And I may have not been the best artist, but I grew from there. And you know, like, my first big client was June.
How do you link up with her?
Portia, this makeup artist, Portia, she called me. Portia was also my manager at MAC. And Portia was like, hey, I got a really great opportunity for you. And this is why I say to artists, like, be careful how you treat people, because you, like, a lot of people are growing in this industry, and you never know who could take you with them and who could, like, be like, nope. And so Portia gave me that opportunity and was like, can you meet me at June Ambrose's house at 3 a.m.? And I was like, I'll be there.
3 a.m.?
Well, it was at 4 a.m. I had to meet Portia. I got there at 3 a.m.
Wow.
Because I was so scared to be late. I was so scared. Right. And I remember the first time I sat alone with June doing her makeup. I was so scared.
Right.
I was so scared. And not knowing
where does she live, by the way?
I can never share that.
Oh, okay. I mean, I was saying that she live in Harlem. Okay, I got you.
No, I can't share that. She'll kill me.
I got you. Respect that.
Yeah, but
you said you were scared doing her makeup and.
Yeah, I was scared to do her makeup. But the funny thing is, when I was working at Lord & Taylor's, June was coming. I was getting out of the elevator, and she was walking into it. And I was like, oh, my God, you're June Ambrose. And she was like, yes, I am. And I was like, I'm a makeup artist. I was like, I'm a makeup artist. And she was like, hi, nice to meet you. And I was like, well, I'm going to be doing your makeup one day. And she was like, well, darling. And she said, well, darling, you know I only work with the best. And I said, I know that. And I'm just letting you know that one day I'll be doing your makeup. And she was like, well, let's see. And I remember calling my girlfriend, like, I just met June Ambrose, and I told her I'm going to be doing her makeup, and watch, I'm going to do her makeup. And my friend was like, you sure? Yeah, you sure are. You sure are. And literally, maybe like 3 years down the road, I'm doing June's makeup.
Wow. Did you share that story with her?
Yeah, of course.
Did she remember?
I have the selfie still. I have the picture still that we took.
Did she remember when you told her the story?
June meets so many people, so I'm sure that it's not something that's going to click right there and then. But and I look super different from, my hair was super short when we met, so I'm not sure if she'll remember that, but she was like, she remembered that picture when I showed it to her, and I still have the picture. So yeah, I've had, my career has been all about manifesting. Like, I've manifested the career that I want. I've spoke it into existence. I've said the things that I'm going to be. And I think that we need to understand that we create what we speak, and the things that we say out loud. And if we speak negative about things, and if that's what we project out there. If we speak, like, I remember saying things like, oh, no one, years ago I would say, oh, nobody likes me. That person doesn't like me. And then it turned into the point where people started not liking me, and I had to, and then when I found God and I learned about, like, you create what you speak, I literally started changing my thoughts and changing my actions. I removed myself from crowds. I took time to be by myself and really learn about myself and learn about Camara and who Camara the artist is. And that's where I'm at today now.
Right. Let me ask you something about manifesting. It's like some people speak into existence. Did you actually believe everything you said, you put out there in the universe? Did you actually believe it, or you just put it out there?
No, I believed it. I was like, I'm going to be the go-to makeup artist. And I believed it.
Okay, so besides June Ambrose, you have like a lot of other celebrity clients like Ava DuVernay, Angela Bassett. Now, how did Candy Burris? How did you get those clients?
Those were all, like I said, referrals.
Oh, nice.
So those were also like maybe the hairstylist was like, hey, you should work with this person because she's awesome. Or I was working also with agencies, a couple of agencies at that time too. So the agencies would put me on to certain people. Angela Bassett, I met Miss Angela working. One of my girlfriends, Camilla Forbes, who is the executive producer at the Apollo Theater. She always makes sure she books me for anything that goes on with the Apollo, and she did like a whole production for the Apollo. And Angela Bassett was one of the stars for that show, and I was able to do Miss Angela's makeup that one time. And then the other day, not the other day, but like a few months ago, I received a text message like, hey, Camara, is this your number? And I'm like, who's this? And I'm like, I know this is Angela Bassett. I know this is Angela Bassett. I felt it in my gut that it was her. And I see the dots, you know, when you're waiting for the iMessage to come through and you wait in, and I'm like, oh my God, this is Angela Bassett. And she said, "How, honey, I'm so sorry. It's Miss Angela Bassett." And I threw my phone screaming like, wow. Oh my God, you know? Wow. And then I remember she was like, I want to work with you. And like, I'm doing these things in New York. I'll be in New York. And we've been, you know, I'll work with her when she comes to New York sometimes. And it's, you know, she has her artists that she trusts. And I'm just happy to be on that list of artists that she trusts. Yeah. Ava DuVernay was a recommendation from Niecy Nash, because Miss Niecy, I worked with Niecy for a few times, and Niecy, you know, thought that me and Ava would be a really good fit for each other. You know, so it's always like oh, hey, I know this person will be great. It's really about how you treat people and how you make people feel. And then they'll also say like, hey, my friend is looking for someone, and their friend always winds up being somebody that's like, oh shoot. Like I worked with Cicely Tyson, and that was because the makeup artist Renee Garnes, who's Naomi Campbell's makeup artist, was like, Camara, I want you to go to Florida to work this to go, you know, can you go to Florida for me? I'm unable to go, and I have a job out here, but I know that you can take good care of my client. And her client runs this big conference that goes on in Florida, and I went out there and I was able to touch Cicely Tyson's face, and Cicely Tyson said to me, you have aggressive hands.
Whoa.
And I said,
what does that mean?
I said, oh my God, am I being rough? Am I not being soft? Because I know that she's a 90-something-year-old woman. So I'm like, am I hurting you? And she says, no, my love, you're doing the exact opposite of that. When I say you have aggressive hands, it means that your hands move like you know what you're doing.
Wow.
And I like that.
Wow.
Your hands, you move like you know what you're doing. You move like an expert. And I like that. I will never forget you.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, I know.
I mean, you building all these relationships. What is it about you that make these people trust you and, you know, want to recommend you? You know, it's funny because I was randomly partying with somebody in a club, and she told me, you know, she wanted to be a makeup artist. And I say, oh, my homegirl, Camara, she's doing her thing as a makeup. Oh my God, I love her. I follow her on Instagram. I love her. Aww. So it's like, I mean, to these, you know, people that want to be where you are right now, what is it about, you know, how you deal with these clients that made them trust you and want to recommend you? Because that's a big freaking deal. That just don't happen to anybody.
It's an honor. It's an honor. I'll be honest, like there's like, when I first started my career, like when I was first starting like as a celebrity, I guess they call it like celebrity makeup artist, I was not humble. I thought I was the shit. God humbled me. He removed, how I found God was that he removed all of the clients that I had.
Wow.
Like literally, oh. Whew.
What happened? You gotta share that story, girl.
Well, I'll share a little bit of it, but
a little bit,
a little bit of it, because it's a little, not everybody could handle what happened to me, but the story is basically from December, like November 2000. What are we in? We're in 19 now, so 17. This happened. 16. The ending of 2016 into 2017. I started noticing that I was no longer being booked by people. Like they would hit me up and say, "Hey, are you available?" And then they'll hit me back and say, "Hey, we decided to go with someone else." And you know, as a Leo, my ego was like, oh
man.
And every day, and like almost
and it kept on happening.
Week, it kept happening. The only client I had that was allowing me to pay my rent was Lisa Price.
Wow.
And I'm grateful for Lisa. She's my number one. You know, the only and at that time I think June was not really doing too much with red carpets and stuff, because she was like I think it was J&B were on tour. It was like a lot of things that was going on with J&B at the moment too, so she wasn't really working like that with her own personal stuff. So I literally was only making money off of like working with Lisa Price. So that's how I made my rent. So it was a lot of like it was not even fasting. It was a lot of because I didn't know what fasting was at that time. It was a lot of like cooking and cooking cup of noodles and trying to make it into like shrimp and noodles and things like that. Like it was broke season for me. And so I called a girlfriend. She fasted. She taught me about God, taught me about, a whole other things happened before that, but I won't get too deep into it because it could take some time. But I found God through a girlfriend who, God saved my life, because I was going into another direction to seek him and to find out what was happening. And he sent this girl, and she taught me how to pray. She taught me how to fast. She taught me how to understand God and how to hear him and how to understand him and how to speak to him and because, I was raised Catholic, so I don't think we like go deep into God the way as a Christians as we do.
Right.
And so I learned how to go deep with God and how to figure out what was going on and what's happening, and literally indulged myself with church. I remember I was so broke in 2017. From like, I became vegan because I couldn't afford to really eat meat anymore. But I also didn't.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. That's the reason you became vegan?
No, not really. I also became vegan because I didn't have a craving for meat. After the fast, I fasted for 4 days with no food. So once I did 4 days with no food, I basically didn't have a craving for food or meat, or like I didn't have, like my whole body reset after that. And so that's when I basically started. I could even tell my grandmother could vouch for me. I remember calling my grandmother and walking home from church every single day, because I was in church every single day, because I was like, what is happening to my life right now? Like, do I have to go find a job? And God was like, I need you to trust me. And literally, that's when I got signed to my agency, and then things just started coming, boom. Then the next thing started coming, boom. Then the next, it just started like, it was like provision, like all the sacrifice and everything. Like that's when my career really went right over. And there's times when when he has to humble me again. I feel like I'm in that position right now where he's like, humble yourself. And I'm like, all right. This is a hungry moment now. Okay. But I'm gonna humble myself, but he always provides for me, like even from where I live now to like the inspiration he gives me. And he, that's when I created Ode to Beauty when I was after the fast, because he literally downloaded the idea. He literally downloaded the idea in my head. And I remember calling those women. I called Michaela Angela Davis, Lisa, Simone Mizik, all these women. I was like, come to my house. I'm going to do your makeup. You're going to go upstairs to Justin. Justin is going to shoot it. And we're going to I'm creating this thing called Ode to Beauty. I don't know what it is yet, but I just need you to trust me. And they all were like, all right, I'm coming.
Wow.
And that's why I tell a lot of artists, like, when you're feeling stuck, get silent and get quiet, and then create your own stuff. Create your own ish. Create your own things. Like, stop watching what other people are doing and beating yourself up and thinking like, oh, this is just another makeover show, or this is just another this show. Create your own niche, because whatever you do, and to this day, people still stop me. Like Carlene Balin, Jay's old assistant. I don't know if she's still his assistant. She was like, why haven't you completed Ode to Beauty? You need to continue doing it. Kim Blackwell said it to me. I know you did Ode to Beauty. You did that beauty.
I mean, that was kind of hot. I was at your opening. It was dope.
Yeah.
It was really dope.
And I need to do it again. And I literally just lost the passion for it, because I was like, it's just so many things that I was dealing with at the time. So it's like, get clear, get your mind right, get your spirit right, and then do what you have to do and follow through. Finish everything and tell yourself that you are a finisher. And I literally have to wake up every morning and say to myself, you are a finisher, Camara. You complete things. You don't sit around and watch things go by, and you don't watch your dreams go by. That's not who you are. Right. And then I put myself on a schedule, because I read something that Aunique does where she put herself on a Google schedule, and I was like, I'm going to learn how to do a Google schedule. I don't know how to do. I'm not the most tech savvy, and I created a Google schedule where it wakes me up at this time. I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I pray. I read my Bible, and then after that, I meditate on Catherine Ponder on how to on prosperity and living prosperous. I'm on a budget right now where I'm like, okay, let me call my accountant and tell him I'm spending way too much money. Then I'm like, I need to chill, and you need to put me on a budget.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And so now I'm literally humbling myself before God goes ahead and does it. He's like, you need to do this.
Do this yourself before God gets you.
Yeah, so I'm humbling myself. I'm being obedient to what he's saying to me to do. And I'm like, okay, what's next? What do you want me to, like, now you control this. Where do you want me to go?
Mm-hmm. Has he answered your prayers in terms of what's next for you?
Yeah. We're going to I have to have a meeting with him. I call God my CEO.
Nice.
So if like even with the lash line, I don't call myself the CEO of my lash line. I'm not. I'm the founder of it, but he's the CEO of the brand. And so basically,
are you talking about your eyelash?
My eyelash line, yes.
Awesome.
He basically told me for the year of 2019. He says, this is the year you need to do everything that scares you. And so I
haven't been doing that as an entrepreneur though, like.
I actually have. The lash line is growing. I'm putting myself in rooms that I never thought. He's putting me around mentors that I have in my life that are like multimillionaires and are teaching me things that I never knew. I have a wonderful, wonderful friendship. And I have a really, really, really great relationship with God. And I found my church home finally that I'm proud of. And I'm growing like as a woman. I've learned about being more feminine. I'm learning more about loving on myself, and I'm learning how to love others better. I've learned so much about myself, like even loving others was something that scared me. So it's just so many things that I learned about myself as a woman that this past year that I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Wow. It sounds like God have a lot in store for you, girl.
Yeah, he has a lot in store for all of us. He wants us to be prosperous. He wants us to be great. We just got to believe that and trust it and make moves and seek him. Like my job is to bring people closer to him, and that is what I'm supposed to do. I learned, I looked up, there's this young lady named Tiffany Montgomery, and she said, if you want to know your purpose, look up the meaning of your name. And I said, let me do that. And Camara means the teacher. Aunique, which is my real name, means different. Janine, my other middle name, means God gracious. And then help means that I help others with my network and my knowledge. So I help people become their best self with my network and their knowledge. And it's everything that I do. I'm actually really living in my purpose. Like I love putting on others to jobs. Like I wasn't able to do an Essence shoot the other day. And I said, you know what, this young lady will be really, really good for this. And this could possibly open a door for her to do great things.
Share the wealth.
She's like, yeah, I don't need to hold on to things anymore. I don't need to I like helping others and seeing them be great, and it feels really good to be able to do that for others. It feels really great.
I'm looking at your motto on your bio, and it says, I want to be to young people who I needed growing up. Do you feel like that's who you are right now to young people?
I absolutely do. I joined the board of the YMCA,
wow.
where I'm, I was like, all right, what could I do that's different, and how could I give back as a makeup artist? Like, how could I give back? And with the YMCA, I'm able to like touch the youth that attend the Y in McBurney location, on 14th Street. And I'm able to like sit at tables with people that I would have never met before. And I'm able to put my input in as someone who couldn't afford to go to the YMCA. How could we help people that cannot afford? How could we make change? How could we bring something different? How could we make it more accessible to people like me that came from the hood? You know, like, how could we make it more accessible? And I feel like that's the things that we need to do. Is like, we all want to be famous. We all want to be, everybody wants to be something they're not, but you're not. And then when you're given the opportunity, you don't give it back. And so
you don't pay it forward, huh?
You don't pay it forward. And so I'm like, I pay it forward with artists and everything, but the real people we need to touch is the youth.
Agreed.
Because that's our future. Agreed. You know, that's our future presidents. That's our future, senators. That's our future everything. So we need to love on them, right, and let them know that they're supported. We need to love on them and let them know that they're amazing, that they're great, that they're wonderful. There's so many people with high platforms, and it's like you can't sit with us kind of thing. And I'm like, nah, because I'm sitting with millionaires that have drivers, right, and right, that come pick me up and drop me home, or millionaires that's sitting at their own table and in one of the biggest restaurant chains, 5-star restaurant chains, and they're the most humble and gracious people that I've ever met. Right. And literally I'm like, nah, there's gotta be a different way. There's got to be something different. So how could I be that person? Right. How could I be, so I'm going in another direction. I'm going to remove myself from all the influencers and all the I'm going to remove myself from the cliques and everything, and I'm going to create my own shit.
Right. All right. 5 to 10 years. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see?
Married. A happy wife, a happy, loved wife with a wonderful husband that is a go-getter just like me. And we're building a bomb empire that is #goals. I see us having multiple properties all over the states. I see us I see myself with some children in 5 to 10 years. I see myself with some beautiful babies. Okay. And I see myself being so financially stable and so successful in what I'm doing in my career and in my love life and everything, that I'm like able to, like, I'm building a legacy that my children and my children's children and my children's children they're going to be able to reap the benefits of it and not have to work as hard, but also know what the benefits of hard work brings.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. So, yeah, you're manifesting that, right? You're putting that out there in the universe, so it's going to happen.
Amen. And covered in the blood of Jesus.
Amen.
But
have church up in here.
Yeah, it's going to happen, and I'm excited, and I'm ready, and I'm even more excited to see what God got planned, like what He want to do too, because I'm like, I know that this is what's going to happen, but I feel like it's going to be much bigger than this. I feel like you and I will be doing another podcast interview in the next couple years too. Just to like
put it out there, girl. I love it.
Yo,
question. Yeah. This is you said something. I'm waiting for what God has planned. How do you differentiate what God has planned for you versus what you want to do? I think that's a struggle for a lot of people.
You know what? That's a funny thing. We have to learn how to remove the flesh, because what I've learned about myself, when I, like, even with relationships and dating, I had to have a conversation with God and say, listen, God, obviously I'm not really that good at making these choices. So this is what I got for you. I'm going to let you make the choices. I'm going to let you handle. I surrender. It's surrender. It's literally just when you've been beaten, broken, and multiple times, like, I've been hurt. I think when you feel that way, and when you're like finally at a point where you're like on your knees and you're close to tears and you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore alone. And not meaning with another person. I'm meaning like, God, I cannot do this without you. He's taken me there a few times. I've been there where I'm like, God, I cannot do any of these things without you. And I need you right now. And when you feel that release of that stress removed from your shoulders and you can stand up straighter, and then you realize who you're being introduced to and who you meet, and or the people you just sit next to on the plane and strike up a conversation with, everything is going in the direction that you already had imagined for yourself, then it's like, oh, this is how it feels when you're in control, God. Okay, let me continue. Right. Let me go back and do this. Because even though right now I may not be doing as, like, in my mind, I could be busier. But I know he's preparing me for something a little different. So he's like, chill, I'm going to need you to take some rest. Rest up. And it's hard because it's like everybody's being productive. Why do I got to rest?
Right.
Like, because I need you to rest right now. So I have these conversations with God. Like, I literally be like, really? Okay, cool, Dad. You know?
You got it. So this is what we're doing? All right, let's do it.
All right, cool. And when you move in that whole, okay, cool. When you move with like that with God, and you like, all right, cool. Right. All right, that's what you want? Okay, cool. Yo, when I tell you your life multiplies by 1,000 for the better, and even though you may have a little couple of hiccups, you could just drink some water and get rid of the hiccups.
Wow. That's dope.
You know?
That's dope.
Yeah, God is awesome.
All right, so my last question, because I know we've been on the phone,
I
know. For a while, and I really enjoyed our conversation.
I enjoyed it too.
For those looking to follow their dreams and passion, what's like the one big advice you would recommend for them to do?
Just do it. Just do it. Don't watch what other people, like, this is the one thing I say in every interview I do. Do not watch what I'm doing. Don't watch what another person is doing. I've been doing this for going on 10 years, maybe more, you know? So where I'm at in my career compared to where you are in your career is just two different things. Learn how to get silent. And don't prey on other people's clients and wish for it, because what someone else may have, the grass is not always as green as it looks. And do what you're called to do. Figure out what you're called to do. Have a conversation with God and find out what you're called to do, and He will always answer you what you're called to do, and then do it with a vengeance. Like, go hard with it.
Wow.
Go hard with it. Wow. Go hard with everything that you know that you're supposed to do, and fight for what you want, and fight for what you need, and fight for what you know you're like, the change that you're supposed to bring. Go and like, don't take no for an answer. And I feel like for me, no means a yes with someone else.
Listen, I could ask you so much questions because you open up so many can of worms. I learned so much about you within the last 48 minutes. And I could ask you so much questions, but I know, like you said, we'll do this another podcast in the next couple of years or sooner.
Yeah.
Because I definitely feel like we're going to have a lot more to talk about. So thank you for sharing your journey.
Thank you.
I think it's an amazing one. I think it's an inspirational one. And I think it'll impact a lot of people who listen to this. So thanks.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for trusting me with this. Thank you, Kelsey. I appreciate you.
All right, girl. Appreciate you too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, honey. Bye.
Thank you all for tuning into Reverse Ambition Podcast. It is really a pleasure sharing these amazing journeys with you. It may take some time for you to find your purpose and realize your dreams, or for your purpose and dreams to find you. When it happens, don't be afraid to pursue them. Be more afraid if you don't. Trust God, trust your journey, and most important, trust yourself, and it will all work out. Until next time, I am Kelsey Cooper, the Social Broker. Thanks again for listening.